I'm here. And we're ready to do some art, maybe, tonight? We have one outstanding enemy. It's Devon time. Okay, yeah, these guys are... I still hear the noise, and I'm not convinced that it's just on my end. I'm gonna start messing with things here. Because if I open a different project, it doesn't happen. And I'm fairly well convinced there's something up here. Oh, it's 100% on board. I don't know of anyone who uses an external soundboard or external sound card, like a PCI. Okay, so let's try this. Let's try something really silly here. When we start the game, oh yeah, I need to take that out. What will the new channel point redemption be? What indeed? We will have to figure something out at some point. People love spending their points. Delete it. Done. It's gone forever. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what we'll add in. Steel Soul is really good, but until DLC comes out, I have nothing more to do in Silksong. I've completed a 100% run of the game with no deaths, and I'm not one of those sickos that's going to try and do a damageless run. That's just ridiculous. All right. Scene manager. That's what we want. I think. Because that's going to start the audio handler. Or maybe it's in the ready function for the audio. Yeah, fade out. Music can start new. Okay. I'm just going to take this out and say, no, don't start music. Yeah, I definitely hear it there. All right, take all this dot play. There are sound effects, text sound, hard cut, crossfade. All right, let's do something silly then. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not sound effects, not text sound. Okay, so I've commented out. I still hear it. All right, so hold on. Let's pull up a different project. Let's pull up Pinball Roll Up. Pinball Roll Up. All right, so this is just a really quick and dirty project. There it is, right there. Do not autoplay this. All right. So do not autoplay music. What happens? It does not do it. It does not do it. Okay. So it is specific to Paper Robot. somehow, it is specific to Paper Robot. If I go to the audio handler and I mute the master bus, I still hear it. That's what's weird. Is, all right, mute. In the audio bus, give me the documentation on the bus. Oh, that just uses the name of the bus. Audio server bus dot mute is bus mute. Great. How about set bus mute? Do we ever unset the muteness of bus 0? Does mute ever show up? Not mutex, that's add-on stuff. Mute on minimize, but that is not really muting. Oh, here we go. No, wait, that's commented out. We took that out. Although, that would be noteworthy, wouldn't it? You guys don't hear that. Of course you don't hear it. Why would you hear that? There's no sound there. Of course there's no sound there. If I mute my speakers, I still hear it. What in the world is that? I'm flummoxed. It can't be the game. It can't be the game. But why is it... Okay. I know it's not actually happening. Like, I know that there's no actual audio being sent from the game to my headphones. We've established that. Simply because if I mute the audio on the Windows level, if I mute audio, no sound should be coming to the headphones. And yet, I'm still getting that buzz. Now, that's fine. That's like, okay, yeah, hardware issue. Sure, yeah, that's easy. Yeah, it's fine. Problem solved. Easy. Understood. But then why is it that it only happens when I pull up Paper Robot? And why does it change the sound frequency slightly when I pull up Paper Robot's pause menu? That's so weird. That doesn't make sense. Yeah. It doesn't happen for another Godot project. My computer has gone wonky, apparently. Apparently so. What if I pull up Audacity? What if I pull up Audacity and I switch the input from microphone to... I've got a virtual audio cable set up, so I can redirect the audio device from going to my headphones to going to basically the audio input device. This might mess a little bit with what you guys hear for a bit. Okay, so I can no longer hear You guys are still able to hear desktop audio. I cannot. I can now record desktop audio. Like if I mute this, and you can see. So I'm now picking up my computer audio in Audacity. So I'm going to mute that. I'm gonna get this going. My microphone is not picked up here, which is fine. I'm going to launch game. I hear it. I hear it in my headphones, but it's not anywhere in the desktop audio. Okay, well that's good. That's good. All right, switch this audio device back. Do not go to speakers. Okay. So yeah, it's bypassing Windows. It's a hardware thing. I'm just racking my brain to figure out what it is about the engine. Maybe if I like tried other games, but games on mute, because I don't play other games on mute typically. I want to hear what's going on in other games. It's only my own game that I ever play on mute. So maybe it's something. Maybe it's not specific to Paper Robot. Although we've confirmed Pinball Rollup doesn't have the issue. Even with that on mute, the audio doesn't come crinkly through on my headphones. It's so weird. I'm baffled. I'm absolutely baffled. All right, we have one enemy left for Chapter 2. One enemy left to make. The boss. That's it. All right. So let's talk about... Well, first off, Leon's attack needs to be worked on a little bit. Right now it crashes because I changed his animation stuff heavily. I just need to look into that. I'm not in a rush, but we do need to do that at some point. Boss Chapter 2 is going to be a lot harder to balance because at this point, the player may have been doing all side quests, grinding a little bit of extra level up stuff, and they might be a little bit overpowered. Or they might have been skipping all non-required battles just because they're trying to breeze through the game as quick as possible. It could be it's a challenge run where they're trying for minimum XP. That's a thing that people did in TTYD. Or they could just be bad at the game. So we don't really have a great idea of what level they will be at. If you go out of your way to like actually fight everything along the way in Chapter 1, you wind up at the boss at about level 6. Which typically means you're gonna have like a decent amount of health. Not huge, probably a couple modules that are good for some good use case stuff. But with this boss, we just don't know yet. So we can't get too into the weeds on how strong the boss needs to be. So let's just focus on physically what is it that we're looking at here. It's a big sunflower, I guess. Maybe we do like sunflower with also sunflower hands. Like it's got two. Wait a second. I need to look up the Bug Fables Chapter 2 boss because it might also be a sunflower, and that would be it's not like exactly what we're planning, but there is like some similarities there. Of it's a flower, big old leafy arm, big old root. So how can we don't want to be the same. We want to be different here. You're not hearing anything else. Yeah, exactly. It's a hardware thing on my end. let's see. Possible. So the idea is that the power station, we're kind of plugged into the mechanical grid. So it needs to be sunflower, but also electrical in nature. Vaguely mechanical. So maybe it'll occasionally do some kind of shocking attack in addition to whatever else. Big petally, big flower petal thing going on. Oh right, and we need to go back and add 3D mechanical stuff to plant enemies to kind of get them more on theme. Do we want to stick with sunflower since Bug Fables also for chapter 2 did a sunflower? I guess it's not necessarily a sunflower, it's just a flower. We want to do something a little bit different. None of our other enemies in chapter 2 are sunflowers, right? Let's see here. Drill Bite is just a chompy plant. That mushroom. Breeze Blossom is a flower. Yeah, straight up flower. And then the prickle is like a little birch seed kind of thing. It's very different. Let's just doodle. Let's doodle for a bit. We gotta plug this in. Doodling is how we make progress. Come on, plug in, plug in. There we go. Gotta get the cord just right. All right. It's doodling time. Great. Whoa. Inverted pig. Set. All right, let's see here. Okay, so like flower boss, but oh, I know. Get into a battle scene, screenshot it. And use that as a basis for what we're working on here. Okay. Ignore these guys. Them from existence. Perfect. Great. Got it. Go. Now, what does it look? What does our boss look like then? So what do we do here? So we could do like big flower face. We could do big monster flower. That's threatening, right? Big flower. Big flower. Rah. Gonna get you. Big mouth? No. Big eye? Kirby boss? Make it a Kirby boss? Classic. I'm thinking, do we do a big head and hands boss? You know? Like, big leafy claw. Big head and hands boss is always a classic. Maybe. Sunglower. You get it. Sunglower. And he's got what abilities? So we'll have like hand 1 and hand 2. I don't know if they're gonna be claw-like things or big leafy petals. Or it could just be some drill guys. But that's a little bit too much minions-y, like we had for Chapter 1 boss, of just waves of minions. So maybe instead, it's its own thing. Majora's Mask. So, mouth? Separate mouth flower? No. Maybe. Rah! Angry flower. He's not gonna be flying. He's gotta be big enough that you can just smack him. So it'll be kind of grounded-ish. Careful not to go seeds for teeth, maybe. The usual. So what makes it... It's got to be more interesting than just a damage sponge where it takes a bunch of hits and then it's dead. It's got to have interesting attacks and something... We could do a healer battle where like one of its hands heals it. And it's like, oh, you gotta take out the healer. Ah, there we go. There we go. Move him to the middle. And then have, I don't know, is this a hand that is a vine? And another one. It's like a flower of its own. So we do the classic head and hands boss. But they're individual enemies that maybe they use the same artwork and the same animations, but they have different attacks. And so you have left hand that does like, you know, just hits you hard. And then right hand is healing different members of the party. Oh, maybe the small. Yeah, that's weird. One eye and two mouths. That's what I've got here, but it's weird. So what if This would be very different. This would be very different. What if it doesn't have traditional HP? What if it's like you have to knock off enough petals to proceed to the next phase of the battle? That's really weird. Now, the problem with this setup is that Leon cannot hit anything other than the first rank enemy. So, Leon's special is he can hit enemies that are on the ground or in the air, but no matter what, he cannot go past the first enemy. So once the first enemy is taken out, then he can hit the second enemy, and then the third enemy. But that makes him less effective for this fight, which isn't great. So it might be better to stick with a more traditional, frontline, defense, backline, actual boss. Like that. And that these guys can do their sort of shuffle maneuver of sometimes they're up top, sometimes they're at the bottom. Get the pig out of here. That might be decent. Because then Leon can always hit something. Each petal. I don't know if each petal has. I don't know if it has HP at all. It just tracks hits. Did you hit it? -1 petal. Did you hit it? -1 petal. It's a special rule that only this enemy has. Because if I treat him as actual enemies, then I'm still gonna have to do something weird, or else a tennis ball, like 2 tennis balls would take out the entire boss. Like every petal would be knocked out by that. I mean, maybe. I don't want it to get too complex. So, how do you fight? What is interesting here? A moving arena? I want to save that a little bit. Arena hazards of some kind. Charge at you. I mean, it's a turn-based combat. I mean, the big one is probably not, just based on the size I drew it, it's not going to be a super mobile thing. Let's see here. Okay, let's think about Leon. The whole idea is that it's Leon's turn to shine. This is big moment. It's the first boss with him in your party. What can he do here? Area of effect. So previously, well, I still have to work on his moves to make them, to really fine-tune him, but I think his secondary move is going to be hit every enemy on the ground, maybe? No. Let's see here. What do we do? What do we do? Like, it's not gonna be like you should still be able to win the fight just by dealing enough damage. Like, if Leon gets knocked out in round 1 because he just didn't have much HP, that should not lock you out of winning the fight. That should never be a thing that happens. So let's see here. What does happen here? Well, special attacks... Sorry. Leon's attacks are applicable in all fights that Leon is in. So, I don't want to program some kind of special sticky tongue minigame that does a different thing for every enemy. That just gets to be a bit much. Cat already kind of has something where it's, every enemy has a special thing that only Cat has access to, which is the enemy description. Every enemy gets their own description, and you can only access that by using Cat's scan ability. But that's just text. That's not that much work. Let's see here. Big sunflower shows up in the room. Fight it. The idea is that it's soaking up power. So yeah, I think what it'll do is turn 1, it'll summon some little sunflower guys in front of itself. So that you'll get a chance to actually hit it and be like, okay, yes, it's vulnerable. It can be damaged, yay. But then it immediately blocks itself. And as long as it has flowers up, you cannot hit it. It kind of closes petals. It closes its petals over itself, shields itself, and now it's like, okay, it's invulnerable. That's doable because now your mission is not to damage it. Your mission is to actually take out the minions. And that's always a big strategy question when you have a minions-based boss fight is, do I even bother damaging them? They're just gonna come back. How big of a threat are they? If I make it pretty clear, no, you cannot hit the boss. It is shielded. Now, do I make it actually invulnerable or just give it a huge blocking bonus? If I make it, the difference being that items can still hit enemies through their defense. So, for instance, a guarding Might Rock in Chapter 1, even with a defense of 3, where it's blocking every possible attack you throw at it, if you just throw a tennis ball, which only does 2 damage, that will hit it for 2 damage, because most items ignore defense. Similarly, your new special attack, the Pong-based Breakout minigame, that one also is going to skip damage calculation and just give it raw damage. So I think it probably should be... No? No, because you're only going to get to use that once in the fight. And so yeah, let us go nuts with that. Just have him have high defense so he can't take damage from normal attacks while he's defending. But he's still technically targetable, so you can still hit him with items. You could even hit him with a defense scrubber and try to do some weird cheese strat. And maybe the minions have a chance of doing a heal on him as well. So it's mostly going to be you're just dealing with these little plant guys, and then the big guy. He can still. All right, his main thing is going to be the summon, but he's only going to do that a set number of times in the fight. I'm going to say 1 as soon as possible. Second time, 60% health. Final time, 25% health. Maybe if you really plan it well, you can somehow pull off like some crazy strat to totally skip that final summon, and your reward is, hey, you did it. You skipped that final summon. That's impressive. I don't know how you managed that. So he'll still get some other attacks though, because while the minions are out, he should still be doing things. He should be healing them. Yeah, maybe they don't heal him. He heals the little guys. So a heal move, a party heal. Maybe a weird move would be he eats one of his plant guys to replenish some amount of health. Like if it's the last one out. Maybe that's reasonable. I don't want Cat to be useless, but it does make more sense for him to be out of her reach. Like the little guys, not so much. The little guys can help, can be hit by Cat. Maybe they should always be grounded. Or maybe there's varieties. Alright, so his attacks. Alright, so we're gonna do Big Sunflower and minions. Name pending. Alright, so Big Flower. Summon at 100% HP, 65%, and 30%, let's say. Possible to skip final. That could be cool. Heal minions as a move. Is that useful? Kind of. It feels less bad than the alternative of the minions healing him, because that feels like, oh crud, now I'm losing ground. Versus the other one's like, yeah, you could take out a minion in one turn, presumably. Give him like 4 health. Something you can work with. And then consume last minion for a heal. But he needs to also actually attack. AoE damage. Spinning pedal blade thingy. I don't know exactly how that works. Flower minions. What do they do? Just a bonk. Just come up and smack you. They should have a little bit of variety. A little bit of smacking. Defense up by 3 while minions out. Flower minions will just smack you, and what else? Would these guys be decent minions so that I don't have to have more minions? They're bulky. And I think it would be cooler if, like, the final round is just like, oh my gosh, there's so many of them. As it stands, these are big guys. It could be a similar plant, but without the screw and with a flower head instead of a chompy head, maybe. That might be doable. I kind of dig that idea. It makes it a little bit easier to deal with them. Because we get to reuse this very nice looking vine sprite. Yeah, sure, why not? Let's just do that. So they'll smack and explode. No, not explode. Explode is good for optional minions. Like if it's a minion that pops up and the idea is you don't have to kill it, but if you don't, it's going to deal a lot of damage. That's an interesting mechanic. TTYD did that on the first big Crump fight. So the little guys here, they will be... Do they inflict... Can they inflict a status? I think we've done enough status effect around here. We've introduced a new status effect already. I think the best thing for a boss fight in this game is just variety of things that can happen. Things to react to and potentially plan around. Oh, what if... Hang on, what if it's a flanking fight? We built that system for having enemies on both sides. Maybe? It's okay. I don't want to use it too often. It's a cool mechanic, but I don't want it to be too over. I don't want it to get overused. Let's see here. If we did some fight like that, then we would make it where it's 2 major minions. And it's basically like head and hands boss of hand on the left, hand on the right. Pretty much identical. And what does that do? That basically just makes it harder to AoE. Otherwise, it is the same as a regular boss fight. So I don't love that. We may stick with a regular regular minion style boss fight. So for that, we're gonna need a really big sunflower head. Petals that can rotate, I guess, to be a blade. What else? What else? Big vine. That's not too bad. That can kind of hide behind the bulk of the flower a bit, so it doesn't have to be too complex. Though it would be nice to get a nice detailed, thick root. To be like, oh, it's a big plant. Watch out. Flower minions. Can they do anything else? Or are they just damage sponges? Damage sponges are boring on their own. Thank you for the PID party, Abram. Welcome in. We are prepping to draw some sprites for the Chapter 2 boss. Yeah, this is probably okay. This is probably okay. All right, let's try it. Let's try it. Big old flower. Pig. Pig, pig, pig. So the pig... Pig for scale. Pig's screenshot size is like yay big, which is half. So assume this flower needs to be half as, or twice as big as it is here. Well, how big would that be? Around this big. Pretty big. Pretty big. All right, let's make some art. It's not gonna be pretty. Not at first. That's part of the process, though, right? And just make it work. Make a big flower. Make a big flower. Do it for the video games. What's the shortcut for? Nope, not that. There we go. Okay, getting nice. Well, let me look up a sunflower first, because we're gonna try and aim for sunflower-based gameplay. Yeah, big old yellow flowers, kind of jagged connection point. So a perfect circle is not great. We can do something a little bit more bumpity. Textured, you know? Okay, the eyeball definitely needs to be a separate sprite so that we can swap out animation stuff. This one on its own can just be whatever. So somehow that's gonna be... Start. And then let's get really scribbly with it. What do we got here? We got lots of different brush types. interesting start. Just to apply some variety to make a sort of texture in there. Especially if we angle this correctly to get like the right highlighting we want to see on this. Okay, let's go back to dry bristles though. That's kind of the one that works for us. I do wonder if I should add like a bunch of little details. Make it a little bit more sunflowery. It does have a sort of weird thing going on to it. Sort of weird depth with the way the seeds kind of poke around in the middle. Yeah, that could be kind of the base, and then we'll just sort of slap an eyeball over that. Call it a day. The petals are going to be weird. So, we had something work pretty well for the... I should really rotate this to make it easier to work with here. We had something that worked pretty well for the breeze blossom. The way that one worked was that, yeah, the petals are scaled, the petal container, yeah, so they're sort of in, yeah, they're scaled non-uniformly to give this sort of depth to it. So that as this rotates, see, if I rotate this one, it's like, obviously that's not right. But if I rotate this one, then it sort of maintains that depth illusion. Hey, Tech, welcome in. So we're gonna try and do a similar thing for the sunflower by just having a properly scaled flower layer. It's going okay. Kind of puzzling through some potential ideas for the second major boss. Oh, this is gonna end up being a lot of sprites if we do it this way, but that's probably all right. A little bit rough, but you're not going to see that part. It's going to be behind it. How you doing tonight, Tech? Give it a nice golden color here. With a little bit more of a brownish shading. Doing all right. Keeping busy, of course. All right, we're going to try not to shade too much top down because these things are going to rotate. So let's just kind of keep it more darker towards this part. Lighter towards the outside. some magic to rotate it in engine, and it'll look really cool. Okay, so that's the big guy. These little guys, they're gonna reuse the same vine. I think overall they're gonna be a much smaller version of this thing. Oh yeah, we need big old, nasty old eyeball and a stem. Big stem, big twisty stem coming out here. Big thick stem. Twisty stem here. Okay, great. That's good. Oh, also, I think I might want to put some jump roping in this chapter. As if chapter 2 doesn't already have enough crazy things going on with it. I think a jump rope minigame could fit very nicely. We're gonna do a little bit of blue shading. Gotta remember that, blue shading. Some like more brownish color in here would be cool, right? Get a dirtier stem. And a little bit more red. Rusty red. What about like a braided wire? Braided power cable. You know the kind I mean? That's the kind. There we go. Kind of that mesh braiding along the edge. That could be fun if I can draw that texture. Control J. That's a difficult one. How even would I? There's no way. There's no way. This is not gonna look right. It's just gonna look like a bunch of X's. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Okay, scratch that idea. This rusty colored line is pretty good. Okay, eyeball. Big eyeball for the middle. We actually need a few different versions of this eyeball as well. Give him like different colored pupil or something. That gets weird. I can give him a little bit of a highlight on the eye, but that's about it. Give him a quick little that. That's all he gets. And then just a little bit of... Yeah, there you go. Done. Eyeball. And then alternate eyeball will be... So when he gets hurt or tired, there you go. There can be tired, hurt. Great. Love it. Whoa. Terrifying. Good. Love it. Great. Okay, and then... Alright, so there's our eyeball alternatives. Also need to remember, this guy's supposed to be facing to the right. Mirror image horizontally. All sprites should start by facing to the right. Super important. Alright, so we got vinage. Seeds, apetal, the eyeballs. Don't think I didn't see that. Okay, that'll work. I'm fine with that. This is it. This is going to be the boss of the power plant. And I think we're going to have a smaller variant as sort of the minion for the boss. About yay big. It can have just a solid pedal system. New headphones, nice. Decent. Early Christmas, nice, nice. Let's see here. Can I take this and like reduce to what should be the appropriate size for this guy? Yay big. Breaking at the seams. I mean, I guess that does happen, huh? Let's go around a circle. That's not going to be enough, is it? Maybe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's more like it. This is just something to trace. Get the rough sizing right here. Something like this. I got nothing. I'm full on in the zone on trying to get this stuff figured out, and I cannot even begin to think about chapter 3 or the various things that might be missing from chapter 2. Who knows? Is this fine? Is this fine? Oh, new layer. Randomness is always great. It's like I could have this part done in Godot, but I feel like having that many sprites for a single actor starts to get a little bit unruly with the amount of stuff that's being managed. Honestly, I would not mind keeping this temporary image for the color. That one doesn't have to be like scaling that isn't as big a deal as scaling the line work. Because the line work, you scale that, you're gonna get some weird issues where it's thicker in one dimension than another. There we go. That looks alright. Yeah, I think I could do that. So we would take this, do that, and then fill with this, place it there, done. And then have a swappable mouth. Dry bristles. Huh? Did I do eraser by mistake? Sure did. Alright, there you go. That looks fine. Vine, we may copy the vine from what is it? The drill bite enemy. And it's got some decent leaves that we can borrow as well, but we do need a separate mouth. And that's just gonna be big ol' angry mouth, right? That's a little scary. And then alternate for that can just be a nice little squiggle mouth. Perfect. We got it. I kind of want to... I'm kind of thinking like, oh, maybe I can get a stem that I can squeeze in here for this one. But we've already made a decent stem, and I'm just adding extra work if we do that. Unnecessary work. That looks fine to me. Art. Hard. PNG. Where to put it? Right there. Okay. Sunglower. As good a name as any. I've used that name before for sunflower-based enemies in video games, so it gets first pick on being in a video game. Something, I don't know. Now this is going to be a thing. Let's duplicate Drill Bite as a start. I guess we'll make the big one first. I don't know. Okay, this is gone. Animation player. Manage. Make unique. But also delete it all. Reset. Oops, that was bad naming. Okay. Oh. I'm trying to think, can I finish this by the end of the month? Like, obviously there's gonna be some polish and stuff that needs to happen. But my hope, original scheduling plan was 5 months on chapter 2. What if we get it vaguely playable, but maybe there's still missing sound effects, a handful of, this needs tweaking, but it works. We get to that point by the end of 3 months, which is end of the year. And then instead of spending the last 2 months on polish and cleanup, we just shuffle our schedule around so that we don't do that until after like chapter 5 is done. Just like keep going to something new and fresh. That might let us kind of have a bit of fun, get a little bit of something new to work on for a bit to refresh ourselves. Because, oh boy. Oh boy. Sunglower actor and Sunglower minion yet to be named. What? Wait, what? How did that happen? This guy, duplicate. Oh, because he's not saved yet. That's why. Alright. Let's make some big ol' enemies. Jump rope. A jump rope minigame. Vaguely interested. Kind of like the Mario Odyssey one. That could be a fun diversion as well. I think it's important to work on a thing you're interested in. If you're forcing yourself to work, forcing yourself to work on something is occasionally necessary. But in a solo project, there's so much to work on that you may as well kind of get a little bit of the fun stuff in as a treat every once in a while. So at some point, we're going to switch over and try to make another minigame, because why not? All right. Let's go over to our animation canvas and just try and piece this thing together. This is going to be big. It is going to be big. Here we go then. We're doing rotating canvas. Head. Scalar. Scalar, Sprite 2D for head sprite. Oh, it's big. Oh, it's big. Great. Scalar is going to be a scaled down thing. And then pedal rotate goes here, and then within that we have the sprite 2Ds of the pedals, so they can all be rotated in one go. So this is just going to be pedal 1. Yes. Okay, so if I do, let's start with this one being, it'd be cool if 90 degrees. Figure out what the right distance is there. Sure, that looks about right. Duplicate this. Rotate it by 15 degrees? Oh, it's gonna be a lot of pedals. 20 degrees? Nope, now there's too much room. 15 degrees. Okay. And then you move it into here. Duplicate. Rotate. 30 degrees. And then 60 degrees. This doesn't look good yet, but it will look great. And then 120, duplicate again, 240. Oops. Duplicate. There we go. Take everything in here to here, except this and this. Move it into pedal rotate. There we go, 24 pedals, individual sprites, why not? Take scalar here. I may need to scale the head out a bit. This sprite here. Okay, and now, presumably, pedal rotate can be rotated. Yes. And it scales properly regardless of the angle. All right, good. Head, face. Face, more like eyeball. Haha. It's eyeball. Face can be scaled up a bit. Yeah. And then the big ol' nasty ol' stem. Stem. Go here-ish, vaguely. All right, it's a huge sprite, but it works. Maybe I'll have some like cool vines in the foreground and stuff for the set. Like not actually part of the fight, just animating on their own. just to kind of add some like, ooh, overgrown, drawn, not modeled. So it looks like it's part of the actual boss. The gear, where's the gear come into play here? I didn't even think about that. Sitting behind it, turning ominously. Okay, that's the basic layout of that one. And then the minion. Oh boy. Arms, wrists. Everybody stretch. Head. This one's gonna be much smaller. Still sizable. Face. Meh. And stem. This one, we're actually going to pull that from a different block of art here. Yeah. Okay. Basic assembly of the sprites are done. Get that checked in, just in case my computer suddenly explodes. Wouldn't want that. Oh. I do kind of want to do a mini game with these guys over here. These are workout birds, as you can tell by their headbands. I need them to have a little zone over here where they work out. So, what can the workout birds have for their little personal outdoor work? Okay, so yoga mats, 100% yoga mats. Maybe this path opens up a little bit. Tricky to do, but not impossible. Duplicate, and then just do this, right? Something like that. Yeah. Oh, wait. Nope. Can't do it there exactly. Need to move that a little bit over here. Because the edge of the ground is a foot over there. Okay. So I thought about a water cooler, but that's more of an office setting, right? At a gym, you'd have like just a water fountain. Let's build some more exercise equipment. Wait, we have some exercise equipment we can already use, right? From Birdtown. Yes. Node 3D gym. The gym is gonna have some dumbbell. Oh, we need to be careful about these dumbbells here because they need solidity. They need proper solidity. So we're gonna copy this. Stick it in our gym. Why is it so far over there? Oh, I guess because that is 0. Okay, well, move the gym over here then. Gotta have the dumbbells ready to go here. These guys work out hard. We're gonna have a yoga mats. In the form of, I think, just a CSG box. Mesh, yeah, maybe a plane. I don't know. Well, no, because this gives it just like a slight thickness, right? So nice little spongy yoga mat. Enter gray, and then give it blue. Nice blue. Blue yoga mat. Looks great. That looks like that's ready for exercising on. And a second one. They're buddies, right? They each have their own yoga mat. They help each other do squats and stuff. Now what? Poster. They need to have the same workout poster. They 100% have the same workout poster. Rotation on that. Smack it over here. No X rotation necessary in this zone. What else? What else do they have? Look up a photo of a workout. Mirrors. It could have like a bunch of little barbells. A yoga ball, a kettlebell, Huh. Can I make a kettlebell with just CSGs? I'm a sick man. I'm a sick man. So it's a low poly CSG. Collision on. Combined with a low poly torus. That's basically it right there, isn't it? It'd be a little bit more flat at the top, which we can accomplish with this. Boom, kettlebell. And then it just needs the proper texturing. That and that kettlebell. I'm gonna put that in Birdtown, even though it's technically part of the Birdtown canopy. Wait a second, where's the barbell? Oh, maybe that's, okay. I think I understand where I put that. Oh, kettlebell. All right, let's add a kettlebell here. Where's our, here we go, gym, kettlebell. Get a little rotation, sink it into the floor a bit, done, kettlebell. Double check our solidity. Nice and solid. Ooh, this needs a clang. And I've got just the thing for it. It's this guy. All right, bring up that kettlebell again. We're gonna give this thing a nice clang. Now for that, collision shape needs to be made unique, as well as significantly smaller. Hey, welcome in, Velcro Beans. Thank you for the raid. How was your stream? Beans raid. Love some good beans, man. Hi everybody, welcome in. I'm making a kettlebell for some birds. Coded something that worked. That is exciting. That, you know what? Some might say that's even measure of success of coding in general. Congrats. What kind of stuff do you work on? Game development, perhaps? And if so, you know, what kind of engine do you use? I'm interested. Let's see if all right. So if we did this correctly, this thing is gonna wiggle and make a clang sound. Well, it wiggled. Oh, I still have all audio muted, don't I? No, I don't. Why did that not work? Unity, nice. RPG, excellent. Multiplayer RPG at that. Multiplayer RPG, like multiplayer RPG. what would be like a MMO style multiplayer RPG, turn-based action RPG? I'm intrigued. I am working on a single-player RPG in Godot. This is Paper Robot, which is very much in the style of Paper Mario, if that's not abundantly clear. No, I don't have any audio. I turned off all my audio. Oh, because we were troubleshooting the oh yeah. Because I'm hearing a weird noise, and it turns out it's my headphones. So I've been trying to figure out, like, what is that? Let's mute everything. Mute it all. And it turns out it was because of, so, not an input. 2D, 4-player dungeon crawler with a little bit of town building. I feel like, wait a second. I knew, okay, yes, I have, you've raided before. I forgot about the beans. I was like, wait a second, and town building, it's funny you should say that. It's funny you should say that, because just the other day, I was talking with someone who's working on a very similar project. Oh, man. I'm out of it tonight. It has been a weekend, and my kid has kept me busy. But it's been fun. It's been fun, but I'm a little bit worn out from it. So I am. I'm gonna punt on the chapter 2 boss fight, and instead we're sprucing up this little area here where these birds hang out, and I'm gonna make a little mini game here where you have to jump rope because they are telling you to. Or should it be like a rhythm game? No, we'll do jump rope. Jump rope is easy to understand. Hard to make a convincing jump rope though. I've got some other stuff in the game that uses dynamic rope physics, and this is just rigid bodies attached with hinges. And it's not the most efficient way of doing a rope, but it's very convincing to do a rope bridge this way. For a rope, you have to get a little bit more like, oh, well, the slack in the rope and all. But this, no, it's like, all right, this is good enough for a rope bridge. That's very convincing. I love this bridge so much. Really what sells the illusion is you expect each plank to move rigidly. You can't get the same effect as convincing on a full-on rope object without it looking like a bunch of solid pieces of polygons, hinging off of each other. But that's perfect for this kind of wiggly bridge. So you kind of get that for free. I hear the noise. I hear it. You guys don't hear it, but I do. And it only happens when the game is running. But I've confirmed, I've actually muted my entire computer audio, and the sound is still there, which I think is a pretty good nail in the coffin for any sort of thought that it's... Okay, this is what I did, yeah. Okay, we just undo that. Now let's see if we can get this kettlebell. I'm going to hit this kettlebell, and we're going to expect a nice, solid clang. All right, here we go. Yeah, that'll work. But this one maybe needs a clang as well, right? Like a nice dong. That would be good. I think we want that. How do we get that? We save this as a scene. You can't save... I mean, I guess that's true. All right, but we can fix that. We'll do this, we do this, and then we save this. Save it as part of Birdtown. Dumbbell. Copy that. And then move it into decor here. Make it take over the place of this old one. Perfect. And now they inherit off the same scene, which means we can edit one and it will edit the other. So let's do the same thing we did with the kettlebell and give it a nice collision noise. That does also mean we need to give it its own collision shape. And that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna give it a nice collision shape, just like that. Bring it up a little bit. We're gonna pitch it down low. I don't know if this will still be audible. We're going down a whole octave and change. Ooh. No, I'm down with that. Okay, jump rope minigame. How are we gonna do that? I spent so long trying to think like, oh, should we or shouldn't we? And now, ugh, how even do we do that? So it'll be. Okay, lock input is something we normally do for the player. Input locked, that's what we call it. And that takes out the normal is jump pressed logic. But we could manually check for it and set it. Thank you. What? Are these the ones from your shelf? Thank you. Oh, I don't know for sure. Well, actually, I can't. It's way back in the back of my computer, yeah. If I can get that shelf built, then maybe. Thank you. Thank you for the test. You just never use these? Okay. Well, I'll wrap them up. Are we given food? What do you mean? Oh, no. I was not being given food. I was being given headphones. Yummy headphones, yes. Delicious. I'll set that over there. Okay. We got some music. Yeah, I'll listen to some music. I'm getting worn out. I'll tell you what. Okay, a song, possibly for the game. Wait, that one was weird. Oh, no, we're good. little floaty, almost trippy. Very unsteady rhythm. I could see the vibe being useful at some point. Yeah, it's fun and out there. I like it. Cloudy, yeah. No cloudy regions in the game. No cloudy regions planned either. It's weird. No cloud level? Psh. Psh. How do we do a jump rope? Like a slowish jump rope. What kind of game is this? I thought of something. That might be... It's barely a song. It would barely be a song. There was some minigame music in Mario RPG that was used for the Yoshi races, because the Yoshi races were very... Oh, well, no. Hang on. That won't work. I was about to say, I want like a drum line for keeping rhythm with the jump rope game. But the problem is that the jump rope game, if I build it the way that I've initially thought, it will not have a steady rhythm. It will occasionally speed up or slow down so that you can't just time it forever. Parappa the Rappa? I never played... Well, okay, that's not a huge surprise that I never played Parappa the Rappa. I did not have any non-Nintendo consoles growing up. Or as an adult, for that matter. I went NES, Game Boy, Super Nintendo, N64, GameCube, Wii. Did not have the Wii U. And then straight to the Switch. And there was a Game Boy Color and a Super Game Boy, not a Game Boy Advance, and a DS somewhere in there. Super Game Boy was weird, right? That was a weird one. It was a Super Nintendo cartridge that had a slot for a Game Boy game. And it was basically a Game Boy emulator that you would play on your Super Nintendo. Bizarre. Don't make me feel that old. Don't make me feel that old. Oh, start at the DS. Oh, come, give me a break. Ugh. Baby, you are so small. It's funny to me. All right, kettlebell done. So, all right. So the idea is you come out to these guys at first, and that's what gets you able to go back to the big tree, and they help you get up the big tree. I mean, Well, I remember Valve put out some feelers like several months back specifically for community artists to create workshop items for MVM. Now, I don't know if it would be a functional update or it's just going to be, oh wow, new cosmetics that are MVM themed, and maybe like a blog, maybe we'll get a blog post, wee, or a new Australium item, but it's like not anything that would actually change the game. Maybe some community maps. There'll be community maps. Yeah, my expectations are limbo low. Honestly, I'm expecting something on par with the Halloween updates. Silksong tomorrow? Okay, so these guys, you talk to them once, and that triggers a state in the game where they are ready to help you in the next scene over. When you walk into a trigger point in the next scene over after that state is set, there's a cutscene, they open the path up, and that sets another status update that says they are now in minigame mode over here. And that means that we can swap these guys out for a constantly running minigame. Where I guess they've got a, like, we could just have a little curvy shape that just rotates on a single axis. It's not the prettiest way to do a maybe we could get a little bit more involved, but I don't want to get too crazy with it. Just a rotating polygon. Now, would it be that we fade out, fade back in? Like they're doing their workout and you say, oh, hey, you want to take us up on that offer of the workout challenge? And then you select yes, fade to black, reposition everything, fade back in. You're locked into the minigame at that point where jump rope spins and you got to time it. What kind of timing are we looking at? Just whistles? Could you do it purely from just whistle sound? Like, be nice if... Yeah, I can have some kind of formula to determine what the speed of it is, maybe randomize it a bit. So it's like the range and how long it lasts within each speed set. So like when you've been jumping a while, it starts to change a lot and goes very fast or very slow to really throw you off. And we just count your jumps. And if you hit 100, we just cut you off and say, all right, you win. You get a trophy. Here you go, bucko. But the idea is if you hit a very low target score, you get a useful module that maybe gives you some good attack or something. I think the idea is that it gets you effectively a summon attack. It lets you whistle for these birds to show up, and they will just like attack all midair enemies, but it'll cost you energy points. That's the plan. So we gotta get the mini game working for these guys. So you're gonna walk over to these two and talk to them, fade to black, and then put you over here. I really need to have an invisible wall back here for the plants. Once I've got everything kind of finalized as far as where it goes. That will happen, but we're not there yet. That needs to rotate for sure. These can overlap, and I'm not worried about it because it's background noise. You don't need to worry about it. You don't need to see it. Okay. Fade to black. So it's basically like a conversation system item. Chapter 2 conversations. So show dialogue with these codes, blah, 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 blah. I'm pretty sure that these can cause scene change. No, they can't. The in conversation is part of the base conversation setup, which does include the in dialogue, the in menu. Here we go. Scene manager does sleep animation, plays night night. So we do that sleep animation where it does the iris out, but sleep animation.bind is play the sleep animation. Well, now I gotta know what that is. Sleep animation is iris out on a location that targets wherever the player is. Pause, iris out, fade in. Okay, so it does all of that automatically. So we would have to time that point. Yeah, piggybacking off the sleep animation is probably not a good idea. Alternatively, we have a fade out animation that we can grab. So maybe we will manually trigger the fade out for the scene manager. I should be writing this down. Minigame. Jump rope minigame. All right, so here's the idea with the jump rope minigame. We are going to do on talk to bird with certain state set. Prompt yes, no. Fade to black. Move birds or just hide them and show different birds. That might actually be what we do. Well, no, let's move them because we're probably going to have them talk. Teleport birds. Teleport player. Untether partner. Teleport partner. So that normally the partner, if your partner is too far away, they teleport right next to you. We're going to untether them so that won't happen, so they can be off to the side and maybe cheering you on a little bit. Lock input, I guess. No, wait, you're going to be just in dialogue this whole time, right? How does that work? So normally show dialogue. It's going to do this thing. Is in dialogue is the big thing. What unsets that? If the conversation queue empties out. When the conversation queue empties out, Is conversation step active? That's what holds us in place. Hey, Slav, welcome in conversation option. Cooking, dialogue box. Yeah, on dialogue done is what sets it to false. And yeah, we've got some places where we manually turn it back on. And that kind of works. So I guess we could do this to block normal input and pausing during this process. That kind of works for me, I guess. We do a ready, set, go. Then we enter minigame, which is going to have its own dedicated code. Watch for jump input. This is going to manage the speed. Other parameters. The heads-up display will have a counter. On lose, we're gonna blow a whistle. Stop counting. Fade out. Then we're going to teleport everyone back. Retether partner, and then results. Ooh, that's not too bad. I don't know for sure how we're gonna do the actual jump rope object itself. Maybe that's gonna be like just a little dinky polygon that doesn't look too great. Could be a 3D sprite, but historically I've not liked how those look. Oh, you know what? You know what it could be? And I need to check the performance on it. It could be a path object with a thin polygon. So a CSG polygon attached to a thing. So let's do Node 3D jump rope minigame as a top level node here because it's so important. Path 3D and CSG polygon. Rope shape, technically, right? It doesn't matter. Where is it? Where is it? It's all the way over there. It's fine. I'm just gonna make a little thin thing there. Path. Points. Boom. Just like that. We'll move it back a bit. Transform. All right, check this out. I think, whoop, not that way. Wait, what? What axis are you in, buddy? Why did you move into the Z axis? Oh, that's scale. right there. So what we can do here, amazingly, as it turns out, is all we have to do is mess with hey, give me my ability. No. Give me my ability to just, here we go. Okay, with this path and this rope shape and changing this to path mode. Well, now it's over there. Well, okay. Great. Why? Negative 56, negative 54. Okay. Negative 1, 1. Rope shape. Why is it over there? Why is this over here? Transform. Position. 0. Curve is at origin, basically. Rope shape. Why is it so far away? Jump rope minigame is also... I don't get the offset here. I don't get what happened. Top level. Great, now it's over there. Oh, because this is 0, 0. Why is this 0, 0? What is it? Where's this? 0, 0. Oh, because this is at way offset. Okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The point is, you're all missing the point. Boom, we have a mesh. We have a mesh now. And I can change the interval to make it nice and smooth. And as I affect the path here, the mesh updates. So like that's doable. This would be not so much. Actually, we could add one more element in the middle here for kind of a midpoint to keep this thing from like flattening out too much. So we would have to do some experimentation with the exact points, but I think we could get a vaguely convincing jump rope arc from that. We'll see. That's the plan. That's what we'll plan on using for the actual rope. All right. I don't think I've got anything in me tonight to keep going with this. We got to get out of here. GQ is doing the new Metroid. Photon is working on Lake Hopper Steam assets. Fun. I don't know. Maybe people are trying to avoid spoilers on Metroid. I don't know. I'm not sold on Metroid yet, and it's not going to go on sale. We'll go to GameCube. Yeah. Thank you all for hanging out. I'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully I'll have a little bit more energy. I want to work on this minigame, and I want to juggle that with working on the boss. We're just trying to figure out what all things... The minigame's going to be completely optional, but I am going to spend time on it. Off-stream work is I want to work on actually plugging the rooms into each other and just working through all the dialogue of Chapter 2. And there's a lot to be written. And we're gonna get it done. We're gonna find a way. Also, the enemies in the field need to be programmed. They have nothing. There's nothing. Yeah, I think it's good to have optional stuff available. I think that really adds a lot to this kind of game, to just have these things like, oh, I didn't have to do this, but this is a useful item. I do want it. Yeah. I feel rewarded for having gone out of my way to explore. It's important. All right. Everybody have a wonderful night, and hopefully see you tomorrow. Bye.